Indiana Jones only made $82 million over its opening weekend. And I remember people talking about how it was going to make, some people were like, it's going to make $1 billion. It's Indiana Jones. It's a American staple. I'm like, it might have been an American staple in the 80s, in the 80s. But I don't know if it's the same now, given that Lucasfilm is owned by Disney and the world is just very different
and
from
it's
them.
CGI. I haven't seen the most recent two.
But that was actually my biggest problem with it. Like, it's like you're watching a movie that's like this globe-trotting adventure, but it's all so fake.
Yeah,
it's all so CGI.
They had practical effects in the first one, for instance. The Raiders of the Lost Ark. At the end, I mean, spoiler alert.
But there's special effects in Raiders, but it's like for the most part
skin and stuff. But it's not computer generated. I don't think. I think it's like claymation or stop motion.
But even then, it was still like it was done at a time when most of the sets were built practically rather than done on
Star Wars,
large
man.
sound stages.
Cartoons are fake. Yep. They're digital fakeness. They're not real. Like, I'd rather watch a piece of rubber melt and pretend like it's skin than see some computer generation of the skin melting for a movie at this stage of my life. Maybe if you're born in more recent times, it doesn't matter. Do you
That's
prefer
probably
one or the
true.
other?
No, I mean, I still find the CGI disconcerting, especially the de-aging scenes. Some people thought they weren't as bad as they thought, but
no. Here's the thing. I thought the de-aging looked fine, but there's just only so far that technology can go. And what I mean by that is, like, I rewatched after we went and saw it. It left such a bad taste in my mouth. Actually, that might have been what he was trying to cheer me up from. It might have been me like having a horrible time at Dial of Destiny. Yeah. But like what I realized is, like, when I rewatched Temple of Doom, is like Harrison Ford had very sharp features. He had a very sharp featured face, and when you look at the CGI, it looks like him when he's de-aged, but it's gaudy and almost blotchy in a way. It's hard to explain. It's real looking, but it's not real. And it's a lot harder to identify with and feel emotional connection to a movie when it all looks like it's taking place on a soundstage.
I gotta say, I've loved Harrison Ford my whole life. He was my hero in the 80s. Indiana Jones and Star Wars were like my two favorite. I watched The Raiders of the Lost Ark 20 times. My father was obsessed with it. I love that movie and all the Raiders, the Temple of Doom, the third one, what was it, Holy Grail, the Search for the Holy Grail, and but what made Indiana Jones, Last Crusade, where they're looking for the Holy Grail, it was what made Indiana Jones great. And this is maybe a hot take, and it may not be completely true. It wasn't Harrison Ford. It was that there was an awesome young, muscular, confident actor. Yeah. And they used Harrison Ford as that guy at that time, but he's not that guy anymore. He's like this old, frail guy that probably drank too much and doesn't have the confidence. Like, it's sad to see him shuffling around as Harrison Ford in the Star Wars movies. Like, Harrison, I love you as a human, man, but this is like legit criticism I've had in the last 15 years. It's not the same guy. It's like he's a broken version of what he used to be, and I don't enjoy watching him as an action hero.
And it doesn't help when the story they're telling treats him as such. It treats him as a broken down. There's literally a scene in the movie where he grabs a bat and goes down to tell a bunch of kids to turn the music down.
The whole thing was just a ritual humiliation, it felt like.
It felt that way.
Emasculating Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford on purpose.
And as annoying as Phoebe Waller-Bridge it was, and that was my biggest complaint for the movie, they did no help. They did no good. They didn't do right by him in any way, shape, or form. There's a scene where he knocks over a bunch of bookcases to knock a guy over, and it just looked like if that was actually Harrison Ford, he would have died trying to do that. He wouldn't have survived.
It's so annoying when they have really old people. I'm almost like beating a dead horse here, but like trying to like revive these old movies with the old actor as the young. Oh, it's so annoying. Like, we need better young actors, or just new movies in general.
Movies in
recycling crap.
The franchise didn't require a goodbye or like farewell edition.
And the farewell felt very studio manufactured.
What was the gap between 3 and 4?
How
many years was that?
Even 2 decades.
Yeah, something like that.
2 decades.
Yeah, even
like
that
a long
seems
time.
so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Dude, the third one was the final Indiana Jones movie. Then they made some cartoon with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, they made
Crystal
Young Indy.
Skull.
They made Young Indy.
Oh, they made that Young Indiana Jones with
Young Indy's pretty popular. People like that.
Was that Phoenix?
It was in the 90s or something, right?
No, River Phoenix played Young Indy in the third movie in the very beginning of the movie. Then they had Young Indiana Jones. I don't know who the actor was.
Yeah. But that was cartoon.
But it was like Sean Connery was in the third movie. I mean, that was like the biggest splash ending for a hot action genre movie.
Yeah,
And
there was no way they were going to do better.
up.
There was no way they were going to do better than that.
Why would you try? It's just a money grab. I mean, Harrison was like out of acting for 10 years. Then Star Wars hit him up. It was like, hey, can you reprise Harrison Ford? I think he kind of resigned himself to not play that character ever again.
Kino
they must have came
Corners-
with a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not gonna fault the dude for taking the money. Like, I'm never gonna. If somebody waved, if my old ass is 85 or 90 years old,
Like, we want to do another episode of Pop Culture
and
Crisis.
somebody's
We'll pay-
like, here's this amount of money, and I'm like, and I have to like drag my ass to a studio somewhere. I'm gonna do it.
If someone offered you like comparable to like $20 million to do
Yes.
another episode of Pop Culture Crisis in 60 years, and you hadn't seen a movie in like 30 years, would you still do it?
Yes.
Even in all your ignorance?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would.
wouldn't. I wouldn't do it.
Oh well,
Trash
aren't
your
you?
legacy.
What did Kino Corner
Aren't
say?
you just Mrs. Principled? Aren't you just the most
Kino
principled person in the
Corner
world? Well,
said
if they offer me
it was
20, I'm taking
such a
it.
clumsy action scene, beating a dead horse. Harrison Ford might be old, but he's not dead.
Wait a minute. That sounded like a cool super chat.
And didn't he only come back to Star Wars if they killed him off?
Yeah, but they did not have to do that without getting all of the main characters back together. Like, that was what people were mad about. I mean, they were mad that they killed him off, but I think they were more mad by the fact that they killed him off without letting, like, him, Carrie Fisher, and you know, Luke, Leia, and Han didn't get back together again. That was what people were really mad
Okay,
about.
even if they did the whole, like, moment that people wanted where all the original actors got together again, that would still be cheap.
Moral
It would still
Mary.
be- like, would that not be cheap?
They
Like,
might have been able
just
to do
trying
it
to
good.
get
The-
upvotes.
At that time, it was a lot less cynical culture around remakes. So it's possible that if they had done that one right, if they had actually done that one right, we might be on a completely different trajectory right now.
This is the... Which one? What movie was this one? What was it called?
The most recent one, Dial of Destiny.
No. Are you talking about in the Star Wars?
Force Awakens.
That was the one with Harrison Ford,
Where they-
Chewie, and Luke didn't get...
They didn't get back together.
Yeah,
at the-
they messed that
So-
up hard.
Now Sound of Freedom has outpaced Dial of
Yeah,
Destiny.
so Sound of Freedom outsold Dial of Destiny on the 4th of July.
Clint said, I like Harrison Ford, but he's no Sean Connery in regards to old man action.
Yeah,
and then we
he's
got
not
one
an action
from
star. What the hell?
Dave Gazuli. He said, I got to visit Petra and Jordan where they filmed the ending to Indiana Jones 3. Got a cool picture of me on a camel in front of the temple carved into rock.
Shout out
Absolutely
to
epic movie.
Charles, or what is it? Charles, the Armenian accountant.
Yes.
He's, at Petra right now, I think, or he'll be there over the course of the next month at some point.
Is he going to go visit?
Yeah, they're going inside as far as they
you have
can. He's
to,
going to
right?
find the Holy Grail.
Like, imagine like going there and not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't like Indiana Jones, you go and do that. It's
Petra.
like I I love Rocky movies, but I imagine like I was telling a story. I don't know if I was telling you on the story on air here, but I was telling about how like the first time I went to Philadelphia, I ran up the Rocky steps and did Adrian, and I turned around and just the look of pure disgust from the locals was enough to keep me going for like a year. Where I'm just like, you could see it where like every day these poor people are walking to work, and at least probably once a week, some asshole like me has to run up the stairs and yell Adrian at like 9 a.m. And it was great. It was the greatest thing ever. But I imagine there's people that do it that aren't even huge Rocky fans. They know that that's where that happened. Yeah.
So now, what is this story from Shawnette
well-
Renee Wilson?
Well, I want to point out first about the Dial of Destiny beating it on Independence Day. So Dial of Destiny was playing at 4,600 screens and grossed $2,543 per theater, right? But where it talks here, Angel Studios for Sound of Freedom was at only 2,634 theaters, which means that it grossed about $5,407 per theater. And it's really funny because when I was at the movie, all the previews were for Angel Studios movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like there
Does
was
that mean that there was like a boycott from other studios?
No, they
screening
probably
previews?
paid for
Oh.
to advertise their movies for that time period, right?
Interesting. Were there any that intrigued you?
There was one starring Christopher Polana that was like a sci-fi type movie that looked kind of interesting, if not a little bit like it suffered on the budget side of things. but could be kind of interesting. I don't remember the name of it, but there was a couple of ones that were fairly interesting. But it's they got this big bid right now with Caviezel and that movie coming out, so they got to strike while the iron's hot. And I'd like to see this movie do really, really well. I haven't been very excited about many movies lately. I really haven't, and that's kind of on me because people tend to look at me as if I'm the one who's more easily pleased by the stuff we go see, but everything we've seen lately has just kind of let me down, and this movie did not let me down. So, so if you remember the CIA chick from Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, who, to be fair, I said they should make it about, instead of making it about Phoebe Waller-Bridge, they should have just let this lady be the main character.
How about don't make an Indiana Jones movie and make someone else the star?
Yeah.
You don't need to choose some younger woman to be the star.
Well, they did it with Shia LaBeouf
movie.
in Crystal Skull, right? They're still going to pick a younger person because Harrison Ford's probably got nap time at noon or 1.
Then just don't do it.
Yeah, just don't do it. So it says the star of the latest Indiana Jones film, Shawnette Renee Wilson, apparently demanded that an offensive scene in the film be changed, according to an interview published on Saturday. She was apparently handpicked for her role. That must be nice, right? Not even have to audition for something. And they basically talk about they don't actually release what the scene was that she wanted changed. But imagine being an actor with no name or no name recognition, feeling like the confidence to just be like, I want this removed.
Why was she picked for the role without having name recognition?
No idea.
What's her name?
Her name's
Shawnette Renee Wilson.
Yeah. 2 E's and Renee, 3 E's in Renee, technically.
So she knew somebody.
Script she received wasn't good enough for her.
Oh well,
so she
bully
wanted
for
to
you.
Implement some changes.
Yep. She just that the entitlement there is kind of insane when you think about it, is it not?
Yeah.
That's kind of bonkers. To think that you can
but
just
she
be
got
like,
away with it.
Yeah, she got away with it. So, we'll see. I think that this movie's in for it's doing worse than the only thing it's doing that did worse over the 4th of July weekend was like Terminator Genesis in 2015, but it's on par to make like Superman Returns money. So it's not doing well, that is for sure. Mm-hmm. And as far as I'm concerned, they deserve it because it's not a good movie. And some people thought my take was a little bit harsh. I saw a couple of comments. They're like, one of them was just like, who can say no to Harrison Ford being back as Indiana Jones? I'm like, me. I can say no to that. Because it's not good. Like if you make it good, I'm happy for it. I'm happy for you. But you're better off just trying something new. And remember, she's now going to be the one who's making the Tomb Raider movie. She's making the Tomb Raider TV show.
Are you talking about Shawnette?
No, her name's Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She's the one who stars in the movie with Harrison Ford. She did Fleabag, and she did some scripted rewrites for the last James Bond movie. To give it a more feminist bend. To be fair, it didn't ruin that movie for me. I thought that last James Bond movie was fine. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But how about this for a question? Was there a time where you think like an Indiana Jones movie after 3 would have worked?
Yeah, right away. Within like a year or 2 years, it was the best franchise in the world, in my opinion, at that time.
And but the problem is like it feels like after a certain period of time, like 3's perfect. Just stop right there. You don't need to do more. Some I love the Fast and the Furious movies, but I don't take them seriously as cinema. They're just a raucous good time at the theaters. But they waited a period of time between 3 and then when they picked the series back up. But Indiana Jones should be held to a higher standard than Vin Diesel in the Fast and the Furious franchises.
It's got to be. I mean, they got Sean Connery. Yeah. For like the 3rd one, and it was like one of his greatest roles of all time. I haven't seen a lot of his work actually, but he was so freaking good. He was improvising lines in the movie, cracking up Harrison Ford, cracking up the crew.
Here's a good one. Kino Corner says they should have got hot women like Sydney Sweeney to play his goddaughter.
That'd be a little bit incestuous.
The whole getting family members of the main character to make a sequel is really annoying, in my opinion. Like they did with Bill and Ted. They had Bill and Ted's daughters as the main characters.
Which is a rewrite, too, because I believe at the end of the last one, they were boys, not girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think Sydney Sweeney might have been a better choice.
She fits the exotic look. I mean, kind of. She's got.
It's just like, why introduce Baz in the first place? Like, being unfamiliar with the franchise, I thought that Baz was a returning character.
Yeah, I know, right? Bad Kitty Mama says she looks nothing like Tomb Raider. She's not playing Tomb Raider. She's going to be writing Tomb Raider. Her playing Tomb Raider would be ultimate boycott. That is for
Corner
sure.
said that No Time to Die was awful.
I didn't hate No Time to Die. It was a little bit depressing, but it was to me it was better than Spectre, which was horrible.
Did you say you're unfamiliar with the Indiana Jones franchise?
Yeah.
I would recommend the first 3 movies. They're so good.
The recent one, they just introduced this lifelong friend of Indy's who we're supposed to know, and I assumed that he was a returning character from previous movies.
Was it Marcus? Was Marcus in it?
No.
It was a character named Baz.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.